Let's take the Kendra's Card Challenge 17 PDF printable and the African Critters pad from Not Too Shabby and make a set of 15 adorable cards. Hey, it's Beth. Welcome. Today I am going to take 6 sheets from the African Critters 6x6 pad from Not Too Shabby, and I'm going to turn them into 15 cards using Kendra's Card Challenge 17. I have my pieces cut and ready to assemble, so let's go ahead and get into that and we can talk some more about the challenge and my process.
Kendra's Card Challenges are quarterly challenges that Cards by Kendra puts together, and she creates a PDF document that gives you a cutting guide for 6 6x6 sheets of pattern paper, and then card sketches that help you turn those sheets of 6x6 paper into 15 cards. So it's just kind of a fun challenge for batch card making, and you use up every last bit of those 6 sheets. You can also do the cards individually if you're not, a batch card maker. There are measurements on each card sketch so that you can always just make one card at a time if you wish. Today I am going to be making all 15. Like I said, I did have my pieces pre-cut, and what I like to do is I have 15 baggies. They're not fancy baggies. They're either pre-used cellophane, like the clear bags or Ziploc bags or whatever, that I have a Post-it note on with a number. So you do not need any kind of fancy system. However, I do recommend some system of keeping the pieces that you cut from those 6 sheets of paper sorted by card number. So like I said, I have the baggies with the Post-it notes on it, and they're numbered 1 through 15. So as I'm cutting down each sheet, I try to make sure that those pieces get into the correct baggies. Here I'm showing you what my embellishments are going to be today. I had some of the ephemera that I fussy cut out of the pattern paper. There were 4 sheets in the pad that had like items or images that you could cut out as ephemera. So I have some of those left that I'm using. The zebra is from the Artful Angel Never Change Your Stripes stamp set. And then the giraffe, elephant, and lion are from the Simon Says stamp Wild Cuddly Critters stamp set. And I did color the stripes on the zebra in black, but the other animals I just stamped on colored cardstock so that I didn't have to color, just to save some time, because I kind of did a batch stamping session where I stamped them all because I'm going to be using up the rest of this pad as well. So I tried to stamp enough to get me through the whole rest of this pad beyond these 15 cards. So tried to keep it simple. But back to how I prep, you can see my baggie there. This is card number 2. And I go through and cut down all of the pattern paper first, and then and as I'm cutting, I try to put the pieces with the appropriate numbered bag. And then once that's done, I go back through and look at each individual card sketch and cut down any cardstock mats that I need. Like sometimes I add a card mat, or if there's any matting that is called for on the sketches, like in that first card, there were the little triangle pieces and the rectangle piece. So I cut down all the cardstock pieces and add those to the baggies. I usually don't, like in this case, I didn't pre-plan embellishments, except for I think 2 cards where, as I was putting the pieces in the bag, I was like, I think these embellishments would work really well in this case. This is the Sweet Critters stamp set from Not Too Shabby, and I'm using the sentiment Warm Hello. I just thought that was a fun sentiment. And then in the cut apart ephemeras, there were some circles that were great for sentiments, so I just stamped my sentiment on there and then added my critter. So sorry, kind of jumping back and forth into what I'm currently doing and how I like prep for the challenges. In this case, I'm not pre-planning a lot of my ephemera, or how I'm going to embellish the cards. I'm kind of waiting until like I get the card laid out and see the patterns all together that I'm working with, and then we'll figure out what image, whether it's one of my stamped images or one of the cutout ephemera pieces that I'm going to be using. I tried to keep these fairly simple as far as embellishments. I didn't add a ton of dimension. There were a few places where I did add some cardstock to the back if it was going to be like really unlevel. If it was, hanging off of multiple layers, I did try and add some cardstock to the back, but otherwise I tried to keep them fairly flat just because these are going to be used for cards for Cubs, and so the Cards for Cubs team, they send out cards to kids that are in foster homes, and so I didn't want them to have to deal with extra postage, so I did try to keep it fairly flat. So adding the cardstock layers behind doesn't really add a ton of dimension, it just tries to keep things level. Here I did add some foam squares. I say that and then I bring out my foam squares, but it was just because the circle was on multiple layers, and so I added cardstock behind one side of the circle and then foam squares on the other to try and make this level. So I love how right as I say I'm not doing something, I go and do it. But I think that's all I wanted to say. This paper pad is so cute anyway, and the critters, I'm glad I found the Simon Says stamp set in my stash that has like some critters that coordinate, with the images on the paper, so that I could have some fun embellishments to finish off the pad. But if there are any products that are still available, I will link those in the description box below. I'll also have a link to the video where you can hear more about Kendra's card challenge from Cards by Kendra, and she tells you how you can get the PDF and how to play along. There's chances to win prizes and all that, so I will let her tell you that in the video below as well. And I think that is all I wanted to say for now. I will check back in with you at the end and then set the rest of this video to some music so that you can either just watch or craft along and have some music in the background. So we'll see you at the end.
my 15 cards, and I did add on the inside scraps. Most of them were like cardstock scraps left that I had from matting layers. There were a few pieces of pattern paper, especially because somehow I miscut some things and ended up with some extra pieces because I had to recut. So I don't know what happened there, but luckily I still had some extra paper to play with. So these were fun. I love this paper pad. And then luckily I had a stamp set that kind of worked with the critters, because the little cut aparts that are the cutouts that I had, I didn't have a ton of those left after my sheet load that I made. So I found this stamp set and then like another new stamp set from Artful Angel that had the zebra, so I could kind of have ephemera for like just about every card. I think I added something to every card. There's only a few that just had a sentiment. So, well, no, that one. Actually, there's only one that just had a sentiment. It was that one. Because that one had flowers. It didn't have an animal, but it had flowers. So, anyway, those are my 15 cards. Hope you enjoyed watching me put them together. And again, check the description box for links to any products that are still active out there, and then how to find Kendra's card challenge. As always, I thank you so very much for your time and hope you all have a very crafty day.